You're already doing a timestamp of your recording?
Well, we've been talking for so fucking long, just reminiscing, just being chummy.
Do you think people imagine that we just talk nonstop? Like, basically every week's episode is just us hitting record for just a small portion of the endless conversation that we're having?
I was going to say for the portion of our conversations that are about Blink-182, but that would imply that this podcast is ever about the band Blink-182.
That would also imply that we're ever talking about other stuff.
It's true, yeah. Like, realistically, like, our entire day is just sending Italian Blink-182 Instagram accounts to each other, sharing things that people have written about us on Twitter that we don't.
Well, let's mention it. We're like, let's just do one where we don't reference other stuff. But how could we not?
It's really hard, man.
So the documents, as our listeners may remember, pageman of the pod, Josh O'Kane, put on his trusty journalisming hat and uncovered the documents a few weeks ago, whenever that was. And to be honest, you might have heard on the episode that I kind of knew what most of them were already.
Yeah, you were one step ahead. I mean, here's the thing, Josiah, is like, you know the pageman because you are a pageman.
I outpaged the pageman.
Like, you're an editor and a journalist.
Yeah, it's true.
Sorry to say.
It's true. So anyways, I don't know. I was kind of like, okay, the documents are what they are. Kind of just like, at least they look cool. They look like a smoking gun sort of thing. But sure enough, the documents are having a life of their own. They're sort of, they're living on in infamy.
Yeah, so the documents have, I guess, somehow, and I would actually love to know the path that the documents took from being slid across the table to me by Josh O'Kane to then being watermarked by you, having, crucial information blacked out so we weren't sharing anyone's private address or whatever, and then put on the Blink-155 socials. And then all of a sudden they're showing up on these Instagram accounts that have thousands of followers where people are subsequently debating their veracity primarily based on the fact that they say Blink-155 on them.
Everyone's like, it's what is it called? Blink182.ig and then Blink182 Italia both shared it, and people are like, this is clearly fake. There's a giant thing that says Blink-155 in the background. So I guess, does that mean my watermark is too good or not good enough? I don't really know.
Well, I could see how if you weren't familiar, and for real, like, Italian Blink-182 fans, welcome. There's plenty of room in the nation. But if you weren't familiar, you would maybe see something that says Blink-155 and just be like, well, this is obviously bullshit because they didn't even fake the band name right. It's like one of those like bootleg Mario things, or, like the Batman toy that you would get at the dollar store that was like Bat Person. And so it just looks kind of off-brand to people, and so I can appreciate, in a fake news era, sort of approaching with some cynicism.
Right, but I do love when people want things to be fake. I just love the leaps of logic that people do, where you're like, someone faked this thing that just has banal information about, like, copyright expiring.
Imagine if that was, and Josiah, like, let's be honest, you have spent some time faking things on the internet. I actually, for the life of me now, I can't remember over the last year if we've discussed some of your various japes and pranks on the internet, but fake Mumford & Son fashion line. Mm-hmm. What was his? Anyway, there's some good
fake.
ones.
We did. My sister-in-law of the pod helped me because she's a really good graphic designer. We made fake Avril Lavigne and Chad Kroeger wedding invites that were posted on Noisy.
Oh, really?
They're real. Yeah.
Okay, so all of which is to sort of establish a pattern of behavior. So,
It's true. But, I mean, I think if you're going to do something fake, there should at least be something interesting about it. It would be like faking, like, wow, here's Tom DeLonge's shopping list. I can't believe he gets 2% milk instead of 1% milk. Like, it's so boring.
Well, I wouldn't put it past you, and I guess neither would the Italian fans of Blink-182 who follow Blink Italia on Instagram. It's been interesting though to see people like really kind of dig in and appreciate the documents though, because there was like a lot of hullabaloo, and then we put them out, and now it's going to be the way that everyone finds out about Blink 155.
I mean, or they're just going to think that we're also fake.
Oh,
but maybe we are.
Oh, that's interesting. I mean, I got to say, if Blink 155 has done anything, it has caused me to certainly debate, the very nature of existence.
Right.
Because, like, Josiah, do you ever think about, like, the stuff that we're doing and the things that we're talking about and wonder if it's all worthwhile?
Look, I know that we've had our ups and downs, and it's been really annoying and fun and messy and confusing. But I think if you were to really sum up the podcast altogether, you would say that we've had, and actually I'm just going to pause what I was about to say, because I'm also going to say that when we had Ben Cook on the pod, and then subsequently we had Cone on the pod, those were sometimes.
Thank you for sort of taking a sort of half-hearted volley and turning it into something beautiful.
I just spiked it in your fucking face, bro.
It's amazing to watch you work sometimes, Josiah. So sometimes,
are you watching me right now?
Am I watching you?
Yeah, you said you watch me work.
Oh, right, yeah. I already forgot what I said. I try to I just have Langoliers in my mind that are constantly.
You're becoming like me, where you just sort of babble and don't listen. It's really good.
It turns out it's like the only way to truly exist in the realm of podcasts.
Yeah. I just want to address the elephant in the room.
Yes.
My nose is a little stuffed, and I just know that we're going to get a lot of letters about it. So I just want to just say right now, I acknowledge I got a stuffy nosy, and I'm sorry.
Stuffy nosy. Before we started recording, you were like, I should blow my nose. And I thought you would be gone for seconds, and instead there was this incredibly long pause. I want to say you were gone for 60 seconds, and then somewhere off in the distance I heard a nose being blown, and
Did you hear it? I was like damn, this is gonna be a loud one.
It was, in my mind, that was all being done for my benefit, though. That you didn't want to be rude and blow your nose into your mic, so you went to the farthest corner of your house away from your office and blew silently.
I think I'm having allergy issues, because it is. So add this to the chart. It is allergy season right now.
Yeah.
But then, what's the point of taking allergy medicine where it just makes you feel half better, but also just very woozy and ill? I don't really get it.
That sounds terrible, man.
Yeah. So anyways, let's start the podcast. So welcome to Blink 155.
So sometimes by Blink 182, we haven't done an old song in a minute, and it was, for me, such a treat to be listening to this before we started recording, and feel a little more kind of grounded in something that I know and love. Because in my mind, we've spent 6 months doing California Deluxe songs.
And while that's not true, the reason it feels like that is because we've peppered it with just the worst possible jokes.
Right, yeah.
And then we did a hit, which is almost even worse.
The hit was stressful, man. It was awful. But this is kind of I feel like this was a bit of a hit. This was on a lot of mix CDs that I made when I was a teen. Was this a song for you?
No, it wasn't, but every time I go back and hear it, I think this is kind of the song that I think is every song on Cheshire Cat. Yeah. When I think of the non singles or whatever, I just assume that they're all this song on repeat over and over again.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, this is in my mind the sort of best of the non singles, and who knows, in 2 years I might be eating my words, but I feel like we've kind of discussed on the pod before, when you dip into the back catalog, it's kind of you got Carousel and M&M's, and those sort of show where the band is capable of going. And there's a lot of stuff that's sick, local ass sounding skate punk. And this is kind of like a stepping stone that gets you into Carousel. Like you can see where they're elevating their game. Is my opinion.
Yeah. It's also just so fast, and I think it's probably, other than like the party song, maybe their fastest song. Like it's just like ridiculously fast to the point where they can barely play it, which is obviously always a charm.
Yeah, totally.
And then I love the lead guitarist, kind of like has this pirate shanty sound that I've always loved about Gob as well.
I was literally going to say, this sounds so much like Gob, and I'm so happy for you that we're going to get to talk about Gob. Like, walking home from work today, I was like, we're going to talk about Gob. This is such a great day for Josiah.
It is a good day, and then I had to ruin it with allergy season.
No. Is Gob a Canadian band? Like, is Bill Billingsley sitting there right now cursing
Fuming.
us? Yeah.
Just shirtless and angry.
Yeah.
Yeah,
did they translate?
Gob, like some of the other Canadian major label pop punk bands, of whose name we are not going to mention, was mostly a Canadian band, and then sort of did like a failed American effort.
Did they seem like, a band that potentially, like, a couple of real sort of MTV2 viewers might be familiar with I Hear You Calling or something, but they wouldn't know Soda, which is, of course,
and Soda,
their masterwork.
First of all, I think Soda is probably the most similar to this song.
Totally,
like,
yeah.
That is where they lie, but so many people associate Gob just with Soda, and I gotta say, like, Gob is unbelievably good.
Yeah,
like, I'm going to go ahead and say there's at least 3 perfect albums, but possibly Foot and Mouth Disease is perfect too. It might be. Like, they have it's because they're 2 songwriting nerds, which is why they wear fedoras now, because they were never cool. But
Yeah.
they were accidentally cool in like the skate punk days. And they used to do sick punk jumps, and they write amazing, amazing songs. And one of their split albums with the band Another Joe is called Ass Seen on TV. And I'm pretty sure my friend Steve's ass is in the liner notes. So,
shit.
Yeah, pretty good.
Congrats. I remember, like, having that in, like, high school. Or if I'm actually being honest, I had a friend who had it, and I borrowed it a lot. I didn't have it.
Well, and yeah, a bunch of my friends from the band, Steve is from the band WPP, the WPP from Vancouver, who I've shouted out on different pods before, but that's kind of the unsung greatest band of 2000s Vancouver. But they're in, like, all the Gob videos. Gob has amazing videos. They are, like, they should have been way bigger, and I don't really know why they weren't. But now Tom is in Sum 41, and he was in Avril Lavigne's band too. So he still made his way to that pop punk pot of gold, but he just sort of went the long way, if you will. It's
super weird because Vancouver, feels like it's very separate from the rest of Canada sometimes. It's separated by a fucking mountain range, and it's a big country, and there's a lot of nothing in the middle. But, Chicks Dig It are from Calgary, which is, like, even more isolated, and that's a band that was on, Honest Dons and on Sub Pop. And so I don't know if it was, like, a label thing, because who were Gob signed to when they were doing, like, Too Late No Friends and all the, like, really, like, sick seminal albums? Were they on a major label?
What's funny is, and I don't know too much about this, and I know that there's some shit that went down, but Too Late No Friends was actually initially released on Mint Records in 1995.
Really?
Yeah, and then they were later signed to, like, Network and Landspeed.
Yeah, so maybe it's, like, kind of the Network thing, because ultimately, like, I know Network did some cool shit, and it was like, you have Sarah McLachlan making all your money so you can put out KMFDM records. But maybe just, like, American punks wouldn't take you seriously if you were on the same label as Sarah McLachlan.
Or they probably just didn't even I don't know. They probably just didn't even try marketing it in America. Mm-hmm. I think there's also, like, a power violence band called Gob. So I used to get so excited when I'd read, like, Heart Attack or Maximum Rock and Roll, like, oh, there's a new Gob out, and then it was like some shit that sounds like spaz.
Right. Or you'd be like, they're finally treating Gob with the respect that they deserve.
Yeah. Wow, Gob is on Slap-a-Ham Records in America. That's so cool.
But for our, American or international listeners who have not been exposed to Gob, there are a lot of similarities, right? You've got 2 songwriters. You've got kind of the ham and the serious one.
Yeah, although I think voice-wise they're kind of vice versa, because Theo, he does the infamous gob face, but he sort of has the lower voice. He has the Mark voice, even though he's the goofy one, and then Tom has the Tom voice, but he's like the more serious songwriter.
Yeah, I think he started wearing a fedora first.
Yeah, yeah. He also his I shouldn't know this, but his wedding was one of those ones that was like featured in the New York Times wedding section.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Like in vows? It's okay to read vows, man. Everyone reads vows.
Like, yeah, I guess, but yeah, like those longer stories. Is that what that section's called? I don't know.
Oh,
I've
it
only
is.
I've
You
read
only
his
read
one,
it when Sum 41
and
is in it?
the guy from Parquet Courts was also in that, and people were making fun of him for being that bougie. Because I think you pay them to do that, right?
I think, yeah, you probably do. I mean, I remember like reading something as well about like, Gawker and making fun of Nick Denton, and like all Nick Denton wanted to do was like make fun of a certain type of, New York media person, but he was also the type of person that like desperately needed his wedding to be in vows. Like it's a real like, society type thing.
Yeah. Well, there's some punks in there too, apparently.
So wait, why was Tom from Gob in the New York Times like wedding section?
I have no idea. I wasn't planning to talk about this. So
That's like an okay thing for you to know, though. I was worried that you were going to be like have details of his wedding, like just
the article
from
is
your
called,
sources.
Their harmony is loud and clear. And he wore his fedora on the wedding day.
Really? Is he like
It's
just
really,
like super bald and have a weird head or something?
I don't know. I think he just loves the fedora. I mean, to be fair, he almost pulls it off, but not quite.
He does. Yeah. I'm so happy for him. Wow.
I don't know why he was in here. I'm trying to figure out if his wife is maybe from New York or something.
No. Well, why? Okay, so welcome to Blink 155, the only Blink 182 podcast where we spend significant portions of it reading the New York Times wedding section and telling you all about a member of a band that is not Blink 182. But the point is, this song, it reminds me a little bit of like Soda or like Beauville, like one of those like really fast, sort of a good low key melody. Like the hooks in sometimes are not in your face like Mark pop hooks. It's just like very simple. You get the sort of like mimicry / variation with the guitar lead.
It's like it sounds like a snowboard video.
Yeah, totally.
I love it. Yeah, it's so good. And it's like, we'll get to this later, but it's the kind of riff that like no one can play because no one even knows what he's doing. Like it's so confusing and just kind of a mess.
Well, yeah, I almost feel like because the song is so short, I kind of want to like maybe go through it kind of piece by piece, starting with the two clicks of drumsticks before the song starts. Like, and so my question is, because it's like tick tick doo 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 doo,
I didn't even notice that.
Well, it depends on the version, right? Because the Buddha version, I think there's no clicks. Cheshire Cat version has two really short clicks and then it starts. And so is that
There's
how
also a version on demo number 2, and I don't know if that's different from Buddha or not. These aren't the kind of things we think about or care about. We care about Tom Thacker from Gob appearing in the New York Times vows section.
Yeah, this is the shit that matters. So does Scott do that? I mean, there's no way they're playing to a click for in this era. So is that actually how they counted in the song? Was it just 1 2 do because that's barely enough time to figure out what the fuck is happening.
So badass. I mean, probably
Unless
I'm going
it's
to say
an
probably
edit.
not. There's a good chance that even the person who uploaded it to YouTube or whatever just fucked it up.
No,
but
that's the version that's like on. I was listening to it on Apple Music, and that's the version.
Ooh la la.
I know, not to brag, but I pay
Mr.
for a subscription.
Silicon Valley over here, fucking venture capital.
Yeah, that's true. I Ubered my way to Apple Music.
Oh, did you say ample by accident?
No.
That was I thought you did. That was one of my most underrated tweets ever. As I said, they should call it ample music because of the selection. Really did not get a lot of faves on that.
That's tough, man.
I think I lay awake at night thinking about that. It was many years ago, and I'm like, that was really good.
Well, maybe like this episode, when it comes out, I don't know how old that is, but you could retweet it into your feed on Friday, and then
I'm
if
just
you're
gonna tweet
listening
it
to this
again.
pod,
I think I also like added some stupid like know what I mean or like sorry not like it was so long ago that I said something dumb like sorry not sorry. So maybe I'll just freshly tweet it again on Friday morning.
you can. So I think you should retweet it Friday. If you're listening to the podcast, maybe either look at Josiah's Twitter right now or go back a couple of days, scroll through some jokes about like
a lot of shit to scroll through.
And find that tweet, and if you approve, give it a like, because obviously Josiah's struggling
I need to
here.
get that out of my system. Ample Music, because what I'm saying is they've got so much music on there. Instead of calling it Apple Music, they should reference the amount that they have.
I don't get
Ample.
it. I don't.
Ample
I don't get
Music.
it. I don't understand.
So welcome to Blink 155.
So okay, there's 2 clicks. That's the recording, and so unless
that kind of makes sense because this song is like the pinnacle of a song that sounds like it's barreling forward, and they didn't have enough time to think.
Truly,
when they started it.
It's like the chord changes sound like they're not all connected, and so there's another bit that's sort of right in the first verse. And it's because they're sort of like, I think just like panned rhythm guitar and then the lead. And then one of the guitars starts kind of like, it's almost like Tom is starting to kind of shred. And it's like a little bit again of like where they would kind of get to with some of the like more inventive and technical guitar playing that comes in around Dude Ranch. But it just like gets abandoned halfway through, and it's not both rhythm guitar tracks. It's just this like small kind of bit that he's doing, and then it feels like he fucks it up at the end, and then just goes back into the chorus part. And it's so sick. It just sounds so sick and so completely out of control.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, it's so good.
And okay, so that's
the problem with the old songs is we just sit here and go,
it's so good. So
I
fucking
love
good.
it.
So here's
What a
another
good
thing I
song.
love about it. I love like where it sits in Mark's register. Like it's kind of low in a way that it's lacking energy. So the whole song is so unnecessarily fast and barreling forward and out of control. And then you have this like
It's one of his old songs that just is like a little folk tune.
Yeah, just a simple Mark folk tune, and it's just like such a great melody delivered with like zero panache, and I love that sort of juxtaposition. Like they spent all day tracking drums and tracking guitars and doing everything, and then it was like 6 a.m. and they had to finish vocals before they left the studio, and that's like all he could muster.
Totally. It's also like this song sounds like a cavalcade of punk jumps and like wraparound Oakleys and ball bearing necklaces dangling every which way, and it's like you can just picture like the most perfect some sort of snowboarder video release after party, and it's just pure late 90s debauchery. People are bleaching each other's hair in the bathroom and all this stuff is going on, and then the song opens with "Oh, how I wish that they would last. Moments of peace that just slipped through me so fast." It's so cute. It's like this is such a like teen boy punk lyric kind of vibe.
Yeah, truly. It's just so sweet and longing, and it's like he doesn't realize that there's this sick party where everyone's bleach, like someone's getting their pubes bleached, like it's all
all they did was bleach various things instead of doing drugs or anything. They just bleached stuff.
just bleaching the dog. It's just if it's got hair, it's getting bleached.
It's getting bleached, bro.
So this song comes from Bleach season. It's
yeah.
But
even like it's just like that. Yeah, I guess this is maybe why they go back to humor so often, because otherwise it's just so wistful and so just little boyish. And I don't even know if because there's a bunch of live videos that I'm about to play for you, but.
Great.
It seems like he's totally in on the like punk jumps and having fun and talking shit on stage. So that makes the earnestness of the lyrics that much more like, I don't know, interesting. Or I don't think the lyrics are bad necessarily. They're just so, they're so like my third song kind of lyrics.
Yeah, this is definitely like MH Demo 2. You know.
Yeah. And also, I know like the word, even the title, sometimes is so like. I mean, it's not a big word in any way, but it's also the perfect word that nowadays someone would just like write in shitty calligraphy on their iPad and then put it on the internet, put it on Pinterest. Like sometimes it's just such a like daydreamy word.
Yeah.
And when I was searching for the song, I noticed it's also used in Cacophony, Wasting Time, and obviously M&M's. So like they were just constantly saying sometimes back then. It was just like the vibe.
It was just the go-to word.
Like such a deep word. Damn, sometimes.
There's an old friend, a friend of the pod who I'm not going to out just in case for some reason they think it's weird, but they used to date a guy when we were in high school, and he constantly would use the word fathom, like I couldn't fathom it, or like can you even fathom, to the point where we all just called him Dr. Fathom, and I can't even remember his real name. But like Dr. Fathom was this character in our lives, and so I'd just like to imagine that maybe in this era, Mark was just like Doctor sometimes, an infinitely shittier doctor.
Well, the word sometimes makes you picture these boys in some cul-de-sac in Southern California just dreaming of a different life. Like, just sometimes. Sometimes don't you just get so sick of going to the same damn burrito spot every weekend? Sometimes don't you just wish that you could travel the globe?
Travel. I don't know if you haven't been a teenager for a long time, have you, Josiah?
No, I haven't.
Kids just sit around wanting to travel the globe. Yeah, in many ways. But it is like it's such a like rudimentary and yet evocative word. Like I can definitely picture it on someone's like, you know, highly cultivated Instagram account. Like where you're just like, ooh, sometimes what?
Totally. Actually, you know what? There's been something I've been meaning to bring up for a few weeks that I keep forgetting to bring up, but this reminds me of this. First, I just want to say this is why punk lyrics are so charming, and when they're done, when they work, it's because of songs like this. Like, this song doesn't it's not well written. It doesn't seem overwritten, but it kind of just seems like first thought, best thought in a really good, pure way where this works. This could work very well as a folk song for various reasons, as we've said about all these songs.
And I suspect I'm going to hear it in the covers.
Yeah, maybe. I don't even remember what I wrote down a couple hours ago, but it reminded me of, and I've been meaning to share this for a while, my friend Alex Mahan, who I think listens to the pod. He's a really, really funny guy. I've known him for a long time, but we used to just... I've had so many like failed one-off Tumblrs that I've given up on. Like, I could probably make a Tumblr that I could collect all of the Tumblrs on. The one that I really wish had taken off that didn't was deathgripsdicks.tumblr.com, and we just like Alex photoshopped the writing off of that one Death Grips album cover so that it was just a plain dick. And then we just would like Photoshop it and write like Frampton Comes Alive on the dick or like Sgt. Pepper's Hearts Club Band or whatever.
That's good, man. What was your worst one? What's the one that you're like, yeah, I can see why that didn't work out?
Well, I took a really long time designing a logo that looked like sort of like a men's grooming modern hip shop or something, like, you know, the logo with the X that everything has.
It's like two arrows.
Yeah, I made a really good design that just said Sandler and Duritz, and I was just going to post a different photo of Adam Sandler and Adam Duritz every day in their cool outfits.
Yeah.
Also, before Instagram stories, like, this is why I have so much energy for this, because it's actually working. So I've just been looking to place this enthusiasm somewhere. But I once looked into, before Instagram stories, I wanted to cut up Biodome into 15-second clips so that there could be an Instagram account where you could just scroll and watch the entire movie of Biodome 15 seconds at a time. But I couldn't figure out like a thing to automatically do that. Anyways, all this is to say, Alex and I were bored at work one day talking on GChat, and we started this website called Free Punk Lyrics. So it's for like if you started a punk band but you don't have lyrics.
Yeah.
And yeah, so it's freepunklyrics.tumblr.com. Punk lyrics written in 4 minutes or less. That was the rule, and that's truly what we did. By Alex and Josiah, free for use, especially if you're in a junior high punk band or any punk band. Not safe for work for total anarchy. So Yeah, there's
Oh my
there's
God,
about 10 songs on here. Some of them are really sketchy because I was like sort of embodying a character.
It's a little it's not edgelordy, but it's definitely like high school edgy for sure.
Yeah, like I was trying to get into the mindset of like a shitty Redditor in high school. But yeah, so there's like a song. I think Alex wrote this one. It's called "Service on My Own Terms." Scummy corporate entity, try to sneak a fast one by me. In your boardroom, evil squirms, make me submit to your terms. Terms of service are a prison term. Exterminate service. Maybe now you'll fucking learn. Use my likeness in an ad, start to feel like I've been had. Waste my time, make me read, but you can't spell agreed without greed.
Oh my God.
And there's like a spoken word outro. Educate yourselves before you click through. Fuck all fascist app manufacturers. So yeah, there's just like, I don't know. Someone should maybe turn these into songs if they felt like it, because no one really picked up on it.
Oh my God, dude! I would really like someone to put some music to "Fuck All Bosses."
Yeah. Where's that? Okay, here we go. I think Alex wrote this one. Yeah, it's about being mad that you're getting your PE tested, and there's a line, "You're the devil of this quiz now." Yeah, so maybe these aren't really that good.
No, these are
punk
really
lyrics.
good. So I guess, can you put these up on the socials? Like, can you tweet these out so if somebody like were to record one, we could.
No, I think people can find it. I'm gonna give them that one extra step.
freepunklyrics.tumblr.com.
Yeah. But my point is that when they're not done through 7 veneers of irony on Tumblr, but when they're just actually done by like a dumb suburban kid, punk lyrics can be very evocative sometimes.
Yeah, it's. I think what's so great about Blink in this era, and sometimes what rings more hollow in sort of contemporary stuff, is this way that you truly feel at that time like the entire, like the weight of the world is on your shoulders, and that no one has ever experienced the particular thing that you are experiencing at that moment, whether it's like sadness or rage or more sadness or more rage or horniness, which I think are the only things that you feel at that time.
Right.
And there's such a like innocence to it. But I was going back and I was listening to some like newer-ish Descendants material, like Cool to Be You, which is at this point, I mean, new. It's probably over 10 years old. And it's all about like how just like alienated and disenfranchised Milo is. But it's very weird because you're 40 when you're singing this. And it's the sort of thing that I thought was great when I was younger, and now I'm like, man, you knew that there are a lot bigger problems in the world, and that you, as like a white guy from Southern California, probably do not have like the worst problems ever.
Which is why you like the new Bad Religion song. The kids are all
Kids are all right. I mean, they can do whatever they want. I mean, the most exciting thing, and I believe you've pointed this out on Twitter, is that they are finally going to be the punk band that stands up to Trump with their album full of anti-Trump anthems. So.
Yeah, like finally someone's brave enough to do it, and I think you're totally right. Everyone else talking about their feelings or pursuing some form of human expression, fuck that.
No.
Instead, you should be telling Trump not to be an orange Cheeto.
Exactly. That's definitely where you should be putting all your energy. It's super useful. And he cares. Yeah. He hears you. But it's just like this sort of thing, and like what you've kind of captured here, like ironically, but what is so perfectly captured in this song is just that feeling of like it's like you're a baby, right? So like I don't know what the ages where babies develop like object permanence or whatever, but it's
where babies learn punk lyrics, how to write punk lyrics.
Where babies learn that that the man is always trying to dictate
they read
rules.
about the Sex Pistols in a punk book that they got from the library.
Yeah, exactly. But you just truly can't conceive of a world beyond what you can see. Like, if it's not directly in front of you, it might as well not exist. And so, like, that level of just, like, that extremely myopic worldview kind of coupled with, like, sensitivity and some intelligence is, like, can be very sweet and very compelling.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Yeah. So the lyrics are great.
They are, yeah. They're just...
They're no service on my own terms. They're no meat holocaust, which is another free punk lyric you could.
Yeah, we wrote. I think Meat Holocaust was a vegetarian one, and then there was also like a pro meat song. So you could, depending on what you believe, eat meat every day.
Yeah, depending on if you were like bigwig or propaganda, you could kind of go a different way. The spoken word at the end of Meat Holocaust, by the way, is "fuck you." It's a shouted, not just like an outro. "Fuck you for thinking these animals were made for your consumption. Maybe I'll stop being vegan for one night so I can make chili out of your fucking face, you hypocritical fascist fuck."
Which actually is relevant to this because I don't remember if we talked about this on the Wasting Time episode. I have a suspicion that we didn't talk about it enough. But early Blink was produced by Jeff Forrest, who I feel like we haven't talked about this enough if we have, but he somehow is credited as having instruments and performance on multiple Cattle Decapitation records.
Really? Did he produce them or something? And like,
he did. He must have added extra stuff. And then I was just reading up on him right when you so rudely interrupted me to call and start talking. And he has produced records for Cattle Decapitation. He's produced The Locust and Antioch Arrow and Swing Kids, and he's the dude for white belt nerd screamo art school shit.
Wild.
And he also has a writing credit for some additional lyrics in Wasting Time, which I think we did mention, but we didn't really go down rabbit holes back then. Lame.
No, we were very focused. None of this sounds familiar to me at all. Is that just because, and this got touched on a little bit in our interview with Damien in last week's episode, that being Blink might have been kind of weird because San Diego has had great music scenes at sort of various moments, but kind of at the era that Blink was coming out, it's all white belty shit, and then kind of like John Reese bands, right?
Yeah, and he was also a producer on Rocket from the Crypt, and he seems to just be on a lot of very cool shit. And so also rad. On very cool Blink-182 shit. So
do you think that
in
Cattle
retrospect it
Decapitation
does make a lot of sense?
Yeah. Do you think Cattle Decapitation worked with him because of they were checking out the Wasting Time, and they were like, "Ooh, this guy's got a real knack for a good way to turn a phrase. I think he could be great to help us write Meat Holocaust."
I mean, I think Meat Holocaust might have accidentally been a Cattle Decapitation song.
I think so, yeah. It's eventually they'll just sort of get to it. The sort of Mad Libs of things you can do in your Cattle Decapitation will lead you here for sure.
I'm just hoping maybe this Jeff Forrest guy can be the reason we one day get Justin Pearson from The Locust to be very serious on the pod.
I mean, I've interviewed Justin Pearson before. I suspect you have also.
No, I never have, but we played a show with one of his newer bands at Gilman, actually, and he kept kissing his two fingers and piecing the crowd with it in between lyrics. It was so bizarrely rock star for an under-attended 3 p.m. matinee at Gilman.
He's a strange dude, man. I love everything he's done, but he's got an image. It's not anything that he's doing is not meticulously thought out, whether it's his hair or his kissing his fingers.
Right, and yet it's funny because he's kind of taken the roundabout way to arrive at looking exactly like Justin Theroux.
Right. He kind of always looked like Chris Carrabba to me.
Yeah, either way, just very pretty for someone who's making crazy, intense music, but that's allowed. That's fair. I'm not judging his appearance. Calm down.
They walked out of an interview that I was doing with them early days of making videos for Exclaim. So, 10 years ago when YouTube had just sort of come out and there was MySpace video, we started doing Exclaim TV, and it was serious interviews, but then also trying to do kind of fun stuff. And so we were talking to bands at the Exclaim Aggressive Tendencies tour that year, which was Child Abuse, Discord of Forgotten Sketch, Despised Icon, and The Locust. And I asked them a bunch of stuff about the new record and whatever, and they were being super weird. And then eventually I was the whole thing was asking bands called Child Abuse, what's cuter, a puppy or a kitten? Real zine shit, rudimentary zine shit, I understand. But they got like super mad, and he's like, I know we dress like assholes, but these are ridiculous questions and they have nothing to do with the music that we make. And then they like left the interview. And I was like, that's fair, but also like I tried to do a real interview and you weren't down. So I've always been like, kind of like rubbed me the wrong way, where I was like, you're just too serious by half. And then like I was a fan. Anyway, it's fine.
Too Serious by Half sounds like it could be a Locust song title too.
Yeah, totally. So this song is not a Locust song. It's not about vegetarianism.
And it's not a gob song, but it also pretty much low-key is definitely a gob song.
Yeah, totally.
But we haven't even played, so I don't know if this is the same as Buddha or Demo 2. Like, if you're a nerd who likes Blink-182, why are you even listening to this podcast? I don't know.
No.
But we haven't played, we should listen to the Demo 2 version because it's, like, hilariously shittier and slower. So this is the Demo number 2. Is it the same as Buddha? Honestly, please stop asking me. I don't know. So muddy.
That band is doing a residency in Las Vegas this summer.
Except they're also basically not.
I know, right?
And we read about that band on TMZ now.
Yeah.
On the regular. That's where we get our updates about their...
So that is like truly like bad sounding. And it impresses me that they continued to play that song. Like they were never like, it's not working. It's just not working.
Yeah, yeah. And it's even more impressive that they were able to play it again almost the same way, but faster. Like, because even when you listen to it now, you're like, I can't really parse what you're doing with the guitar. It just sounds like you're sort of riffing on some pirate shanty shit, but it's not like... It doesn't sound like anything makes sense at all.
No, but you're right. It clearly is like considered. There is some thought going into it. He's not improvising the guitar, the lead.
Yeah. But yeah, along these lines of like what has happened, let's watch them perform it in 1995. This is them opening for 7 seconds, which is just like hilarious.
Jesus Christ.
Everything is so funny. Yeah, there's a bit of banter at the start. Again, the banter that goes into this like meek teen boy poetry is just such an interesting juxtaposition.
Let me tell you something about being on the road. It gives a new meaning to the word
jack off.
Perpetual masturbation. It's very true.
It's called terminal masturbation. You're gonna jerk off until you fucking die.
5 dudes in a sweaty van for weeks on end. It's not a good combination.
I know.
And then last time we were in a hotel and they had that Showtime up all night shows.
Late night showtime. Let's hear it for that.
It's a fatal combination. This song's for all
No one's even fucking listening, dude. It doesn't fucking matter.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. What song's next?
We got nothing important to say anyway. The song's called Sometimes.
Oh my God.
It's so good. Why is it so good?
Having just like jerk off banter before playing that song too is like so great.
And then, yeah, it really just highlights like Scott is a very good drummer.
Yeah, like
Just
that.
in a different way.
I mean, that's not like an easy, just like beat to play with any consistency. And you hear like that extremely 90s pop punk snare cuts right through the recording.
Totally. And then he's doing like little like surf drum roll fills and stuff.
Yeah. I can't wait till we get him on the pod since we've been hounding his new band. Just lavish him with praise.
But okay, let's just get through this whole live video section. So this next one, it doesn't sound that great, but it's mostly just like you gotta enjoy the warbles while we listen.
Okay.
But yeah, here we go. This is at Soma in San Diego in 1995. This footage looks like it was shot specifically for a documentary about the band breaking up.
Just like so sad.
Just like, and it's so warbly. It looks like it's from a different world entirely.
Like this looks like something that has been staged, like that they've used like some sort of plugin to make it look this fucking bad.
Red Giant or something.
Yeah, this is some extremely Red Giant shit.
And then finally, I'm just going to play them live same year in Fort Worth. Because this one I especially thought, like, this looks like an actual local band. I just can't believe it. How is this real?
Like, also,
it makes me understand why people thought they were selling out even with Dude Ranch.
Yeah, Dude Ranch is a huge sellout album. This is like also, God bless the people that are uploading VHSs from 1995 onto YouTube to a channel where it has 202 views. Like, who kept all these things?
Well, I think some of them are actually, they have the watermarks as if they're from like those video CDs that people used to sell on eBay or whatever.
Oh, right.
Like some nerd ass guy was selling bootlegs. Sorry, 1 second, I'll be right back. Oh, I thought I would lock the cat out so he wouldn't bug me, and then he was just sitting at the door having a fucking conniption about it.
So is he cool now?
I don't know. Sometimes when I talk on the phone, he gets all like mad.
Is your cat jealous?
I think he is, honestly.
Well, I mean, we're doing enough damage to the relationships in our homes. It only makes sense that you'd also be alienating your pet.
I gotta salvage the relationship with my cat.
I know. Probably easier than trying to salvage a relationship with your wife.
Yeah.
Just gotta.
Okay, where were we? Talking about sometimes.
I mean, barely. The 90s, Red Giant. We're talking about After Effects plugins. I actually can't remember. It was like a real, like...
I just want to say this. I don't think that they could have gotten famous without Travis to the level they did, obviously. But
true.
If they had broken up when Scott quit the band... Think of how much everyone on Earth would love them. Like, even all the people who were snobs about it in cattle decapitation at the time, I assume.
Right.
Probably would come around and be like, oh my God.
This was classic.
This incredible. Yeah, like, because these videos are truly the epitome of classic.
This is like, everything that you've just shared is the ideal version of a 90s pop punk band. Like, you're right. I mean, Travis is kind of the key to larger fame, and just like really kind of like there's like a charisma and a look and a style that I think was drumming is not something that just like everyone necessarily like appreciates, but he's like so over the top and showy that it's like someone who doesn't know shit about drums is like, that person is a great drummer. This band, though, this version of this band is like so fucking sick. And you're right. Now I feel like bad about loving Dude Ranch so much because I'm like, I love the Poser version of this version of the band.
And I guess I can also see why this band toured with 7 Seconds and people were okay with it because, like, it's it kind of does have some elements of like, in a way, hardcore.
It's definitely like there's a punk band. Like they sound and like you'd be like, this is different. It would stand out on that bill, but it feels like very firmly rooted in punk and hardcore, which is something that they do not feel rooted in any real way anymore.
Not to mention, again, just like outfit upon outfit of just perfection, and like there's dad hats going on. There's Tom's wearing different 7 Seconds shirts in different things, which I think is kind of a cool move to wear, like, who you're opening for as merch. I don't know. It seems like you're supporting the team. I also think Blink-182 lost something when they started, and I get why they did it, but when they started wearing their own clothing companies, they kind of like, that's like, it just becomes this horrible, what is the word? A synergy kind of thing.
Yeah, vertical
Branding
integration.
Synergy. Yeah. There's no way to make that look not gross.
No, whereas like wearing like another artist's shirt was always such a cool wink to people who knew, and an opportunity to expose, again, as you get to be bigger, to like, if you're advertising your fucking jeans or your shoes or whatever, you know, instead you can advertise, like, I mean, there's iconic examples of this, right? Like there's the Nirvana promo photo where he wears the Daniel Johnston shirt, and that shirt becomes iconic, and Daniel Johnston gets a whole new audience from it. And that's an extreme example because it's fucking Kurt Cobain, but
I mean, it's kind of like, it still is synergy, I guess, but just in like a nice way where you don't feel gross about it.
I don't know if is that synergy? Isn't that just marketing maybe?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, like, I don't know. I don't really know what the word synergy means. I just think it means marketing.
Yeah, it's advertising.
It
I mean, all merch is an ad for a band, and you're wearing the ad. You are like becoming a billboard for, you know, 7 Seconds or Macbeth shoes or, you know, Daniel Johnston. And I think like, to me, that's like always a cool thing about seeing like big bands wearing like some, like, I mean, we had like friends when we would tour, and like the more popular band, like one night someone would wear like a Junior Battle shirt on stage, and it was like legitimately something where you were like, this is sick. You'd all talk about it. You'd be like, yo, did you see that like they're wearing a Junior Battle shirt tonight? We're like, fucking sick. It's like you wouldn't sell any more shirts, like, because these are like punk shows, but it was like material. It felt like a way of kind of acknowledging like what somebody did. So I love, the idea of like wearing the 7 Seconds shirts, multiple 7 Seconds shirts.
Also, that reminds me of something that we've never mentioned on pod before. And I forget who sent it to us, as I always do. But I've decided right now, there's this one dude who has sent us multiple things, and we've never credited him.
And we're just never going to.
So when we don't know who did it, we should credit him, maybe, for it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that seems good. He's like the Alan Smithy of shit that we forget.
I'm just about to say your name here. You've never had it said on the pod, so I'd like to thank... Oh, fuck. Some technical interference there.
Yeah, the Skype is acting all fucked. I couldn't... yeah, I didn't hear it. It's fine. I think it was fine.
I did say it, though,
yeah, you did.
So it should come through on the final thing.
It'll be fine.
But yeah, he sent us this video of somebody doing like a Blink-182 guitar tutorial, and he was wearing a Junior Battles shirt.
Oh,
in the video.
Yeah! Wearing, I believe, a very underappreciated piece of Junior Battles merch, which was a Frasier shirt where, you know, the Space Needle and Seattle Skyline was replaced by the CN Tower. And this was pre-Frasier being on, you know, US Netflix and everyone just sort of realizing what a fantastic show Frasier was.
Being possibly discussed for a reboot today, actually.
Yeah, that's right. Relevant news.
Someone saw the Junior Battles shirt in the Blink-182 covers video.
And started thinking.
Like, damn.
So looking forward to, of course, working on that, or at least being credited, and, you know, kickstarting the Frasier reboot from here on Blink-155. And so, thank you, though. You're right, because I remember, it was DM'd that to us, and so that was good.
Yeah, thank you very much. Oh, fuck. What's going on?
I don't know, man. It's just, I think it's like maybe the wives of the pod are both watching Netflix, so the connection's not great, but I'm sure I'm sure it recorded fine.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be fine. Okay, we'll actually have a bunch more notes about the song if you're interested.
I'm not. No. No, I am. I'm very interested, Josiah.
Well, a few months ago, I shared a bunch of things that were relevant to the song. From searching the song title, I found things that were relevant to the song.
Oh no, fuck!
And I was heavily criticized for it. So and this popped up again, but I was like, I'm not gonna. I know what happened last time when I searched 6'8". There was all these TV repair videos, and everyone got mad at me. So
I actually think a lot of people didn't get mad at you, and that's fucked up to me. Like,
anyways, but I'm not going to play any TV repair videos because I don't want to waste your time. So instead, I'm going to play you this video that I found. This is from Sears Parts Direct, 338,000 views, and it's called "Garage Door Won't Close, Lights Blink 10 Times." So here we go.
Hi, this is Wayne from Sears Parts Direct. Today we're going to talk about troubleshooting a garage door opener that won't close the door and blinks 10 times. The blinking opener lights indicate that the safety sensors are likely blocked or out of alignment. Defective safety sensors or faulty sensor wiring also cause the opener lights to blink 10 times. The safety sensors use an invisible beam of infrared light to detect obstructions in the garage door's path. The sensors won't allow the door to close with their infrared beam blocked. First, look for an item blocking the door and remove it. If there's nothing blocking the safety sensors, check their alignment. You may have bumped a sensor out of position. Each safety sensor has an indicator light. The sending sensor, which has the yellow light, transmits the infrared beam to the receiving sensor, which has a green light. The yellow sending sensor light...
So, I mean, that goes on for 6 minutes, but I think you get the point. Basically, sometimes the lights will blink a bunch of times, and then your garage door won't close. So this kind bearded fellow from Sears Parts Direct has offered to help. I don't know if you saw.
I didn't click.
Like.
I didn't click the link. I saw.
I mean, I kind of think that you should at least get a picture of what he looks like because he's extremely Duck Dynasty.
I did love his delivery. Wow, that's not who I expected to be delivering this video. Yeah. I liked his sort of real like putting some stank on some of his words there, like. If it's something blocking the garage door, remove it. Like, or there was another word where it was like, you got to get up close. Man's intense as shit.
To his credit, it's not often that you watch one of these videos and then people are commenting, because you can't edit YouTube comments, right? Like, there's nothing you can really do.
You can delete stuff, maybe.
Can you?
You can mark it as spam. I should know this, but I don't.
Either way, like, everyone is commenting, like, thank you so much. You've saved my garage. You've saved it. But anyways,
maybe
moving
we've helped
along.
some other garage owners,
Well, speaking of which, I don't want to waste too much of your time here, but this also popped up in my search. It's from the account Joe's Garage.
Yeah.
And I don't really know where the term sometimes popped up because it doesn't. The term blink and sometimes are not in here whatsoever.
You don't say, eh?
This is Joey's Garage diagnosing turn signal problems. So let's dig into this one.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Joey's Garage. I'm Joey, and this is my garage. Today, I'm going to be talking about turn signals, indicators, flashers, whatever you want to call it. But today, I'm going to show you how to fix it. And fix it by yourself and not by some expensive mechanic shop or taking it to the dealer. It's a very easy fix. You just have to know exactly what your vehicle is trying to tell you. So first, we got to check out see what the problem is. From there, we're going to check the fuses, and we'll check the bulbs, and whatever's wrong, we'll fix it. So come on over to my truck, and I'll show you exactly what's going on, and I'll show you how to fix it. So the first step in the process is to determine exactly what your car...
I just want to say, again, I hope that you clicked this time, because this guy is dressed so cool. I would absolutely wear his entire outfit. He has incredibly cool, tiny sunglasses, a very nicely manicured mustache, and then he's got a little hat on, and a cool Joey's Garage shirt. I think the Merch Pundit would approve of this man. He looks like he could be in a band with Tony Molina.
I mean, the shirt is pretty sick. Like, I wonder if you can buy it. This is obviously, like, this video has, over 250,000 views. So if I were Joey, I would be merchandising. Oh, yep, here we go. Found the merch link.
Okay, good. Phew. Well, again, like I said, I don't want to keep wasting anyone's time, and not that I am, because we're completely on topic, and I am working towards a point here. So I would just like to keep going down this path, if you'll allow it.
I mean, I
if
suspect
not,
I don't have a choice, so it's fine.
Oh wow, you're right. Joey's Garage has some really nice merch. There's this nice V-neck with the white stripes. Not that one.
But yeah, it's like a sort of
like a vintage football jersey.
yeah. That's maybe I'll get. Oh,
Cool.
I think that only comes in women's sizes. Anyway, we can
Someone from the pod, please buy a Joey's Garage shirt.
please
Just cause.
yeah record Meat Holocaust in a Joey's Garage shirt.
So I've noticed that. Again, I don't know why this popped up, but it has 100,000 views. How to fix flickering headlights.
Hey guys, it's Richard Ray here from Fix Your Own Car, and I just want to tell you about a problem I've seen 4 times this month alone, and it's flickering headlights on a late model Chevrolet pickup. And I'm saying from 2000 on up. I haven't checked the actual dates, but I see this problem a lot, flickering headlights while you're driving at night. Now, obviously, when you see flickering headlights, the first thing you want to do is test it. And also, you might have the alternator tested, and you can do that for free at a lot of your auto parts stores.
So I mean, you get the point. Basically, don't go to a mechanic ever because they'll just rip you off, pretty much.
Yeah. Also, I got really distracted because this guy's like wearing a hat, has like a sort of poster in the background for something called Herbal Life, and that's his channel is Richard Ray, but that's his icon on his channel is Herbal Life. He's wearing Herbal Life nutrition hat, and so I was like, what is his? And then he's got a button on his shirt that says, "I've lost over 100 pounds." And so I was like, what is this? And so this guy is also part of a multi-level marketing corporation, which of course is a synonym for pyramid scheme, that sells nutrition supplements, weight management, and sports nutrition products. So,
Well, Sam, you know what? I'm so happy that you brought that up.
oh God,
Because you're so observant. Most people would say, oh, this is about headlights, blinking lights, whatnot. This is the final video of this section I want to show you. I want you to read the title of this so that you will agree. By reading it out loud, you will admit that it's absolutely on topic.
at Blink, trying to figure out this treadmill. Lol, I'm slow sometimes. / slash Herbalife / if I can, you can. That's the title. That's the title of the video.
So not only is it completely on topic, but both people who are talking about this song on YouTube are talking about Herbalife. So that it's all connected. I'm gonna play you a little bit, and then I'm gonna do the final reveal of this section, which I think will blow everyone's mind.
Okay.
All right, so this is a little different than the ones on Planet Fitness. In Planet Fitness, excuse me. So I'm gonna try to figure out how we're doing this. I think I'm just gonna press go. Starting workout says, okay. It's an LED screen. So let's, I guess, put the pace. I'm not sure. Okay.
So anyways, this video has 22 views in the last 2 years from Sharon Fortis. I clicked her about page, and this is what I want. This actually is something I've noticed before while Googling the pod, and I just want you to bear with me here. So Sharon Fortis, Herbalife representative and treadmill vlogger, as we know and love, she lives in New York City based on her about page, and she was testing out the treadmill at Blink Fitness. Okay, and that's why it's relevant, right?
Yeah.
Now,
yeah.
when I've searched the name of our pod before, this address has come up in my travels.
What?
So really, it's all connected.
Wow, you know what? It took you a long time to get there, Josiah, but I respect that you had a point. So Blink Fitness is in New York. It's on West 23rd.
Which is a very Blink number to begin with. Nobody likes you when you're 23.
Yeah, and it is located on West 23rd at number 155.
So I think what I'm getting at is we either need to be sponsored by Blink Fitness or Herbalife, or possibly both.
Well, I don't know that you get sponsored by Herbalife. We just have to become like Herbalife sales representatives or whatever. I'm actually really into the idea of this podcast becoming part of a pyramid scheme where, like, instead of having sponsors, like where we're like Casper mattresses or fucking stamps.com, we're like, Josiah, how's your weight loss going? And you're like, great, thanks to Herbalife. And it's not a sponsorship. It's literally us trying to sell shit.
Yeah, well, though those people are usually at the bottom of the pyramid scheme, and I think we should be at the top since it's our thing.
Right.
So is there a way that we can make the Patreon like a little bit more exploitative and just a little bit grosser?
Oh, yeah. Okay, I'm into that. So Blink-155 is an amazing new... I mean, they're always just weight loss products. Like, I don't know, what else are pyramid schemes based around? There's, I think there's like beauty
there was
products.
One, actually, I remember... many years ago, wife of the pod, Sarah, her massage therapist would start pitching this fucking pyramid scheme to her while massaging her. And so she had, like, complained to the boss and everything because it's like, in my relaxed state, you're telling me about this fucking pyramid scheme, but it was like you buy all of your groceries through this one company and somehow it, like, changes your life and makes it better.
It's so weird. Yeah, like, the strange thing and the kind of brilliant thing about those companies is oftentimes people don't realize it. Like, it's like, one of those things where you're like, oh, this is great. And you're like, you are in a pyramid scheme. But
a good friend of mine, Nathan, he doesn't always listen to the pod, but he might. In high school, he used to like run is it called a tuck shop, like a candy shop out of his locker?
Amazing.
And so we always called him the entrepreneur. That's kind of always been his nickname. And then one time we were playing video games like after high school, in the middle of we were up till like 3 a.m. playing video games. And at one point he turned to me and was like, "Do you think that you get enough fruits in your day-to-day diet?" He tried selling me these like berry pills.
Oh my God. So it looks like most pyramid schemes are like these days are like vitamins and supplements. Sometimes there's like seminars.
But what if it was seminar? So what if it was like you can get different tiers of Patreon content based on how many people you sign up to the Patreon?
Right, yeah. But I think the essence of it is those people need to feel like what you're kind of selling is the illusion of control and the sort of illusion of running your own business. Because basically what they say is like, you now, Bill Billingsley, you have like your own Blink-155 store. And so it's like you're like self-employed, and also then you're incentivized.
You work your own hours.
Exactly.
Right? Like,
that's
freedom. It's the freedom that you've always wanted.
This stay-at-home podcast fan made $20,000 last week, and you'll never guess how. So I feel like we need to be giving them like something to sell. Maybe it's like here's what it is: TV repairs.
There we go. Because that's the other thing. In addition to becoming a pyramid scheme, I think inevitably this podcast is going to become all about various blinking lights and how to repair them.
I can
That's
see
inevitably going to happen.
Like we're sort of circling the drain on that, but obviously we're already optimized for this, right? Like the SEO is pointing us, like we just need to sort of like follow the money, which is...
Exactly. Also, I'm kind of hesitant to continue talking about how we're going to exploit the foolish leeches that that give us money on Patreon on mic.
Right. Let's save this for after. Yeah. Let's like wrap things up. Do you want to do covers and then we can talk about how we're going to continue to bleed? We're the leeches, I think. By the way, we will bleed them dry.
They're more like festering rats or something. Yeah. Let's do covers. Okay. And something we don't do too often to kick it all off. And I pun intended, referring to the kick drum, baby. We don't often do drum covers. Because they're
No.
usually just people doing these like showy Travis Barker things that are, while impressive, are just kind of like whatever.
Well, there was one song where like all you were finding were like outdoor drum covers, like people in fields.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Those were the only good drum covers though, yeah, because otherwise it is just like a guy with lights in his garage.
Well, this is a boy named Mario J. Short but sweet. Excuse the derp faces, he said here, which is this was uploaded in 2013. I feel like it feels too recent to be saying derp faces. Maybe not.
Is that because it's like not cool anymore? Or is derp problematic now?
No, I think I've just always been so grossed out by it that I don't know. It feels like it's like Rage Comics kind of aesthetic of the internet feels like it's somehow from the 90s, even though it's not. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like when was Rage Comics? When did that even happen?
Like 6 months ago.
1989?
No, yes.
Was that like ASCII art or whatever?
Yeah, it was all happening on the like DARPA net. That was.
So, anyways, also he's got a picture of Borat as his avatar, and he's performing in what looks like my grandma's house.
Was your grandma a big Sacha Baron Cohen fan?
No, like look at like the curtain and the framed photo of a child. I think I don't know. It just seems very like grandma-y. This setup.
It's the curtains. The curtains are like real grandma's curtains.
Yeah, and they're not even necessary because there's blinds.
There's already
Mario.
blinds.
But anyways, this really exemplifies just how good the drums are in this song. So let's listen to Mario play the song in his grandma's room.
Mm-hmm. It's great.
I would like to think that Grandma approves.
Yeah, Grandma's definitely down.
I
This
noticed-
kid is
and
like
it's-
12.
I know, and he's so good. And I noticed from watching this, what I've noticed about Scott too is that they have this sort of like incredibly loose and almost fluid style of drumming, where it's not like I know Travis Barker has talked about how his drumming is inspired by marching band and stuff, and it seems more tight and intense and punchy. Whereas this style is very like flowy, like his arms are just like flowing, and maybe it's a little bit of like a jazz style like limpness to it to make the rolls faster, but it's very interesting to watch.
I also kind of wonder if it's like the only way to really be able to play that quickly, because you just can't. I'm doing it right now. You can't see it, but your arms just like kind of can't be tight. Like you just have to be like. It necessitates, even though it is fairly precise, I guess, like just like a degree of physical fluidity.
There's like a little bit of the car dealership wind man in there. You know, like the
Yeah.
wind sock man guy.
Yeah, totally. Or the like Sweet D, Always Sunny dance kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think this movement and airy movement also is what Turnstile just in general reminds me of. Just like a big boxy t-shirt with like a fan blowing through it.
Now, I was very curious kind of like what the rest of his videos look like, and it's a lot of Blink covers kind of in the same place. He's now a little bit older. He's got like bleached hair. He's looking like a bit of a teen, but some of his earlier videos are like maybe some school projects, I think, just him messing around with his friends, including Epic Government Rant, which I don't know that I want to hear it because I don't want this to be spoiled, depending on just how epic and ranty it is. But it's just so interesting to see how like kids use and engage with YouTube, 7 years ago.
Yeah, and he didn't like rebrand. He
No.
didn't get a new I don't know, pretty interesting little fella here. But yeah, I'm going to play a couple of these one-off instrument covers because the song kind of lends itself to it. This one, while we're watching it, I want you to look at what else he covered because it sort of solidifies that this song is a quote-unquote true punk song. So this is a G Concalves. This is uploaded in December 28th, 2008, and in that time it has not yet amassed 1,000 views over the course of nearly 10 years. This is a cover of the song. You just see mostly a desk, and then you also see this boy wearing an Element hoodie, and then playing like a very gross-looking banana yellow, like Kramer metal guitar or something. But let's hear him do the guitar, but I want Sam to just look through his page so we can talk about that after. And you're going to hear that a bit coming up too, but they're really struggling with that lead.
It's a tough one, man.
Because there's no rules to it really.
And there's no hiding.
Jazz.
There's no hiding, right?
Yeah. But for the most part, what else has this guy covered?
So for the most part, he's been dedicated to covering the Casualties.
Yeah. The Casualties and the Exploited. Like, I mean, the Casualties are definitely canceled and should have never been uncanceled.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Reasons.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, but like, fuck the Casualties forever. But also, the kind of person who likes the Casualties does not seem like the kind of person who would be covering a Blink-182 song.
Yeah, if the Casualties and the Exploited are like your sort of punk touchstones. But I guess this is the thing. This is sometimes he's not covering like Dumpweed. Like he's going deep.
He's a punker.
He's
straight up a punker.
With his punk guitar and his Element hoodie.
Okay, so here is a Mark My Words 22, and he's also doing a guitar cover. This is the Cheshire Cat version, just in case, so you can hear the nuances of his playing. You'll notice that it's the Cheshire Cat version. So this has 52 views, and it was uploaded 5 years ago.
Yeah. I mean, this sort of falls into this category where, I just don't understand why people want to, like, I get playing along to shit. That's like just like a fun way to while away some hours, but why do you need to share it? I say this is a person whose every thought goes into this microphone and is then published on the internet, so I guess I sort of understand the impulse.
You're asking yourself the question as well.
Yeah. What are you doing with your life?
So are you saying that your thoughts are sort of the equivalent of this teen boy in a bedroom barely being able to function on the guitar?
I would say, like, when I am saying my thoughts, I think these are good thoughts. And then when I see a Twitter account like Blink-155 quotes or No Context Blink-155 sort of spew back something that is sort of tumbled out of my mouth with no thought, I realize, yeah, I'm this kid. I'm filming vertically. I'm like kind of fumbling around.
You know, it's a major parallel is that kid's video was sort of overshadowed by this loud sound of his ceiling fan in his room.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just like letting life happen around me,
Yeah, I think it's beautiful. The video and you. I think it's great. You should encourage it more. But let's close out just the individual instrument section with, I think, hands down the best one yet. This is from 2011, so that means one of the other ones we played was 3 years older than this, and yet this looks like it was shot like through an orb. I don't know. It's like so blurry where I feel like I need to get my eyes tested while I watch it. This is David GLA 20, 53 views for David here, and yeah, I mean let's play it. Why not?
Cool.
Thank
I like that he's making it his own, you know?
And he's like almost barely got it, which I think if you put this kid in a full band where everyone else was playing properly, it would sound so sick. It's like he's like a built to spill guitarist or something.
Yeah, totally. And I just like the look and feel of that video is very like the first BlackBerry, or like he recorded it on a Palm Pilot.
Which makes me wonder, is something wrong with YouTube's display here? Like, am I reading this right? 2011? Are you sure it's not from 2001?
Yeah, like something's wrong here.
And also, watching that right now, because I thought it was a little bit more inept earlier, but it's so close to working that makes me really love this one. But it reminded me of, I remember reading, I think in a zine or something, that like the guy from Bane used to be in Converge forever, but then they pretty much kicked him out around the time of Jane Doe because they had to re-record all of his parts because he wasn't good enough. But like, it's just funny to imagine this like sort of like oafish guy just trying to barrel through these songs that are like incredibly technical and difficult.
But can you like imagine like either one of us playing guitar for Converge live? Because like, first of all, Converge is like one of the sickest bands of all time, and for some reason live, like the guitar is always so quiet. And I was talking to someone the last time they were here, and they were like, "Yeah, that's just like how Kurt wants it. Like every time, like." Because every Converge, I'm like, is the sound just shit when they're in Toronto? They're like, no, he just doesn't want the guitars to be too loud. And so a Converge show just is like, and then, you know,
yeah,
Jake Bannon just like being very serious. So like I could be on stage just like doing that, and it would, I think, integrate quite effectively.
And that would be, or I actually was kind of veering towards that David GLA20 should join Converge.
I'm just saying if David GLA can do it, then like maybe we all can.
Well,
I agree with you, though.
I mean, I just think it's really funny that the guy from Bane was so bad at guitar that he got kicked out of Converge.
Yeah.
But moving along, there are you would think that I've been wasting so much time here because there aren't good covers of the song.
But I know you too well, Josiah.
But in fact, there are quite a few interesting takes on the song. I'm going to play you 4 of them.
Okay. I always like when you let me know how many are left, because it's that thing, like, you know, when something's taking a long time, you at least like have like a percentage, or you're like, okay, it's been a while, but I'm at 70%.
It's been a while. Yeah,
Exactly.
It's true. I don't know why I told you that. I feel like I should have now, in retrospect, made it seem like there was like 100.
Yeah.
Now I regret it. Fucked up. Okay,
Not the last time.
This band is called On Call. And the album is called Rough Around the Edges. And I just want to say that this name and logo is extremely teen. I hope that these are teens.
Well, here's what I don't get. So the name, like just saying it, On Call, Rough Around the Edges, like that conjures a lot of stuff in your mind. But the art is very like I imagine this being some arty, genty post-metal. Like it's
Yeah, totally. Like a guy who's just a little bit too Long and McQuaid.
Yeah. This is like it's extremely a Long and McQuaid album cover. Guitar World for our American listeners.
Yeah, or isn't it Center? Guitar Center?
Oh, see, I don't even fucking know.
Damn, you're not a gearhead.
No.
Yeah, but it's not that. It's not that at all. It sounds instead like this.
Wish that they would last. Moments of peace that just slip through me so fast. Just when I think that they are gonna stay, everything inside me just starts fading away. Sometimes it seems like all I hope for just thrown down on the floor. Then it seems like you don't love me anymore. Sometimes I wish.
That's so sick.
Isn't that weird? It sounds kind of like bluegrass, but also ska.
It's very strange. I'm downloading it right now. It reminds me of I think it's Eminem's. You found this cover that was like very oh my god, what are they called? 69 Love Songs.
Oh yeah,
That guy, that band, Magnetic Fields. It was like kind of like folky, not baroque folk, but like anyway. very magnetic fields. And so this is sort of the same thing where I'm like, they're not doing just like a straight, like a bluegrass version of it. It's like this other weird thing where I don't know what they were trying to do, but I love it.
It's very, they've accidentally stumbled upon something really interesting.
Like it's already, I've literally just downloaded it. It's in my library. I'm going to listen to it a lot.
Well, that's good. Speaking of magnetic fields, I have nowhere else to say this, so I just got to say it here because it's just what this place is a dumping ground. I really feel like Stephen Merritt lately looks a lot like if Louis C.K. was a UPS driver. Like, I keep seeing this press photo of him on Exclaim and elsewhere, and for some reason he decided to wear an actual, like, outfit that looks exactly like UPS. And he's looking at the camera with this, like, dejected, sarcastic look that is so Louis C.K. as well.
It's, the real, like, sort of wounded, masturbating dog, Louis C.K. eyes.
But it's
also,
but in this case, it's like I've delivered so many fucking packages today, and now I want to just make some tunes here.
Yeah, and he's just slouching so much. Like he's so tired from his hard day, delivering packages.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, no one's gonna see that photo, but just imagine it, I guess.
Did you know that UPS trucks, 90% of the turns that they make are right turns because UPS, I guess in sort of studying traffic, realized that left turns are ultimately where they lose time on a delivery. And so whenever possible, a UPS truck will make multiple rights instead of making a left turn.
That seems absolutely like some inspirational shit that you'll open your TED Talk with one day. Somehow you're going to turn it into, that's why we should avoid left turns at all costs.
Yeah.
We can apply this to our...
My TED Talk is called, What's Your Right Turn?
So, yeah, exactly. Oh, God.
TED Talks fucking rule. They're so easy.
So this one, again, is like probably not at all what you think it will be based on what it looks like.
Okay, because I got an idea.
Yeah, the band is... Well, I don't know what's going on. I mean, I'm so confused. The user on Bandcamp's name is Matt Demaz. And this says the Demaz Demons, and it's from a various artists compilation called Covered in Demons. Okay.
This is like so extremely my shit.
Yeah, and this is like an extremely online image where you can't really tell if it's like ironic or
it looks like a DeShare Zone meme. It's like
it does, but it also looks like one of those 101 free PC game CD-ROMs that you used to get or something. Like it looks like a CD-ROM.
Yeah, that's the aesthetic. It's very CD-ROM.
So I'm baffled by this. I don't even know how to credit it properly. But then it just sounds like this.
Just when I think that they are gonna stay, everything's on me just starts fading away. Sometimes I sing off of a hope and just thrown it on the floor, and it seems like you don't love me anymore. Sometimes I wish that I could run away. Sometimes I wish that this was something to say.
It's so good.
Yeah, I mean, I love how precise the drums are, but it's sort of disappointing to hear it. That's like definitely a drum machine, right? I don't want to sort of misspeak, but over the headphones, over Skype.
I think that was just sort of a bed for him to show off how sick he is at guitar and how he can sing with like a perfect nerd pop punk voice.
Yeah, I mean, that was great, but like. The image looks like it was either going to be like very bad metal or very bad hard rock or potentially like very bad horror rap.
Yeah, or I was thinking breakcore too.
Oh, could have been breakcore. Yeah, that's an option.
But instead we got that. So, I mean, I respect it because it's really keeping me on my toes.
Well, yeah, sometimes I think like we're used to sort of being in
sometimes.
music.
Hang on. You just said the word sometimes. You just said it.
Got to start the episode again. I think the scenes that we come from can be so aesthetically literal. Like, you know exactly what a band is based on, like, you walk past the merch table and you're like, yep, and that's what it is.
Yeah, like you just actually never need to hear any music. You just know.
There's like nothing but context cues in punk and hardcore. And so producing something like this and having the word demons used so many times in so many different contexts. Like, and also what was covered in Demons that... Oh, it was all covers. Okay, so Covered in Demons is a 3-song compilation featuring 2 System of a Down covers and sometimes by Blink-182.
That confuses me even more because I think because of the PC CD-ROM look of it, I was expecting it to, and because you can buy the full digital discography for $159. I was expecting this to be like a massive compilation, not 3 songs.
And also, sorry, you should point out it's $159 Australian.
Oh, right.
And
okay.
that's already 20% off. So
I guess like while I appreciate the bait and switch aesthetically, I guess the one question I have is like, why would you make something that no one would ever want to click on?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm amazed by it. Also, interesting to note that the Australian and Canadian dollars are basically at par.
Oh no, that's sad.
It's for who?
I wanted to lord it over them.
Right, yeah, we don't get much of
Those
that.
filthy animals over there. All right, up next we've got someone who we featured before on the pod.
Oh, great!
Yeah, they've. I don't know what kind of music she's making here, but it's sort of like, I guess, kind of garagey pop. Mm-hmm. Very stonery, I feel like, is my read on it.
Yeah.
And I can't remember what song it was before, but I feel like she does cover really, really like deep cuts. Like she's like a true head. She's not like, oh, here I'm doing Damn It, like every other chump out there. But this is, of course, Colleen Green. So this is her performing the song in Long Beach, California in 2012. There's a few videos of she's covered it multiple times. Here's her version.
What's up, everyone? I'm Colleen Green. I'm about to play Blink-182 song.
Yo, she's the best.
It's cool how she could just easily turn it into a drony song, and it worked. Like at first, because my complaint about her last time too was that she's a lot more patient than I am, and I want her. When I hear songs like that, I get impatient. And at first, I was like, we've been listening to these extremely fast blasts this whole time that I don't know if I can sit through this. Just even the intro, I'm like, this is taking forever. But then as it plays out, you're like, whoa, this song works as like a dirge, too.
It's so sick. So interesting. So first of all, Colleen Green covered M&M's. So clearly she's, like an old school head. And so that would be in that episode. But then I clicked through and Mark Hoppus follows her on Twitter. So
they're like homies.
Well, it looks like, and then I literally just Googled at her name, at Mark Hoppus. And she definitely tweets at him. And I didn't see anything sort of back at her, but it sounds like from literally starting in 2010, she's been tweeting those covers at him. And then at some point she's like, yo, thanks for the podcast props. So he must have heard these covers and talked about it on some podcast. And now he follows her on Twitter, which is great. I'm so happy for Colleen Green, but
I know we're just picking up the scraps.
That's it. Yeah. But unfortunately, there is an Australian connection here as well, where the lowly scum of Australian immigration detained and deported her in 2017.
Maddie.
So
Maddie, come on.
Maddie, you got to talk to your people over in Australian immigration. Well, okay, actually, I'm reading this article now, and I'm going to go ahead and not blame this on immigration. Apparently, her Australian tour promoter had instructed her to tell the authorities she was just in the country to visit friends. Guys, don't lie at the border, okay?
Or do. That's punk. Okay, she's cool.
Look at.
Lying at the border rocks, dude.
Propaganda, sick band, fuck the border, a great song, agree with the sentiment, but guys, just don't take the risk.
We've talked about this before on here, and I've said that you probably have... I think I said that you probably wear a poppy at the border year round.
Right. Anyway, that's great. I remember loving her M&M's cover, and I feel like this is somebody that like I'm actually going to put her record on later. Because I really like that whole vibe. And her fucking Twitter is like Colleen Green 420, so like I know she's down.
Yeah, she's down. I mean, that's not very niche at this point to be into that, but true.
But it's like nerd culture. Like it's one of those things where you're like, I'm into Star Wars. Isn't that interesting? And you're like, it's literally the most popular franchise.
People who think that like weed is edgy.
Yeah, or again, or a personality, and it's not. However, it's just so sick. So,
yeah. Okay, so finally, for the last cover, we're gonna dig into the pod fam a little bit because so there's a little bit of a setup here, but we haven't really mentioned her yet, but we have a philosopher of the pod, our listener who she's from Victoria originally, but she's currently living in New York working on her PhD in philosophy, and she loves the pod and says that it's very philosophical and very academic. Her words. Her name is Fiona. And yeah, she's from Victoria. She's like friends with a bunch of people that I know from BC. I think my old band Grown Ups played with her old band Open Relationship, but neither of us watched each other's set. So that's like a normal friend thing.
Just drinking in the van? Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds correct. But yeah, so she loves the pod, and her fiance plays in this band called Vacation, who actually, I didn't even realize, but their new album comes out today, and I've heard it, and it's really good. They're sick. But so their new album is out today. If you're listening the day that it came out, this is like some
if you're
synergy
listening
that we were talking
on
about.
The day that the album came out, it's out today.
It's
like,
out.
If you're listening to this on the day that the anyway, it's fine. It's stupid.
But yeah, so Vacation, they tweeted this at us a while ago, and they've since given us the full-on WAV file. So if you're a Patreon subscriber, you can go ahead and download that shit right now.
Well, WAV file. That's so we're not even offering people a condensed version. We're giving them,
full undensy exclusive. But yeah, so this is Vacation covering Sometimes. Here we go. I right-clicked instead of left-clicking, so just bear with me here. So if you want the rest of it, you can go to patreon.com/blink155.
I like that you jumped in first before I could make the really obvious joke of what a wretched piece of shit and insult insult your friends.
I was thinking, what if well, I don't know them, so fuck them. I don't give a shit. Fuck you guys. Right. I only know Fiona. And she'd probably be like, "Oh, that's very philosophical of you to say that."
Yeah, she's on our side. No, that sounds sick. Yeah. And so you're saying for the low price of $5 a month, I could hear that whole song?
You could have one song. Yeah, you get one. It's $5. This is our pyramid scheme. $5 a month, one song.
Yeah, but then you can sell that song to someone else for $6.
I do really like this cover because again, now in this context, now I hear the lead. Sort of there's just so many elements of this song that translate so well to so many different styles. This lead here almost sounded a little bit Neil Young-y or something.
Yeah, totally.
It just has this I don't know. And then Colleen Green made it like a sad song.
Well,
Really, I guess this is my final thought now. Is like this song has so many layers and is so adaptable and so good.
Yeah, I think my final thought is I'm kind of amazed by how, the word is like total. There's multiple words of just sort of, it's versatile, you know? And I guess that's because it's kind of just like so short, so fast, so like functional as a pop punk song. And mostly my final thought is just like, what a goddamn treat to be able to kind of time travel into that moment and that world, because this song came out when we were too young to give a shit about it or go to shows where it would
I thought
be
you were
played.
talking about the vlog of Blink Fitness at 155 West 23rd Street.
Right. Also like an iconic moment that we will remember forever. But I just, yeah, like it reminds me of how fucking great this band is, and also why they managed to transcend. Like that it doesn't feel like an accident.
You know, I think what you're describing is kind of why nostalgia works so well, because it's something we were too young to enjoy at the time, but maybe we saw our friends' older brothers or something watching it, and so it's like embedded in our mind as like something that was cool, but we didn't get it because we were like babies.
Totally. Like we couldn't dress like this, but the people that we saw on television dressed like this. So I still think it's like, you always think that people that are a few years older than you are insanely cool. Because like when you're young, 2 years is a tremendous period of time. And so someone who's 2 years older than you is usually like impossibly cool and dresses so fucking cool. And it reminds me of like being in the 6th grade, like going to middle school, and like there were some 8th graders that were like punks. And you're like, you're the coolest people I've ever seen in my fucking life. And this is a way to sort of go back and like revisit that sort of awe. And I love that.
Well, speaking of the coolest people ever in my life, we have a guest this week.
This is, I got to say, like maybe the second coolest person though that you know.
Right. Well, anyways, so our guest. So, bear with me here, but our guest this week, he's an online personality. He's a man of many mediums, a lot of wisdom about pop culture. A lot of, I don't know if he's ever said the phrase, but he definitely is aware of things that exist. He's really at the top of his game. He's a real, I want to say like a media personality at this point, someone to really aspire to be like. And I'm talking about our guest, Sam Sutherland. So continue listening to hear from Sam Sutherland.
Sometimes it seems like all I hope for just thrown down on the floor. And it seems like you don't love me anymore.
So we're here with Sam Sutherland, which is a familiar sentence, but I think it's a little bit different today.
Yeah, I'm one of the others.
You're one of, so your name is also Sam Sutherland.
That's correct. Has been for a long time.
So who are you? Like, tell us a little bit who you are.
That's an immense question. I'm a retired marketing copywriter and editor living in Austin, Texas.
Excellent.
And I discovered several years ago that there were a number of other Sam Sutherlands around the world. I ran across the one that you know not too long ago when I started getting his Twitter direct messages.
So you received Twitter direct messages intended for the Sam Sutherland that I know?
That's correct. Since my Twitter handle is Sam Sutherland, folks make a guess that that's the one that you know, and put my handle in there. The same thing. I occasionally get his Gmail messages as well. Those I try to point back to the sender so they can get it straightened out.
So what kind of things are people sending you for our Sam?
Well, I get everything from his purchase confirmations from stores to random tweets about the podcast.
Oh my gosh.
And this was confusing to me at first because there is another Sam Sutherland, even older than I am, who lives in the Seattle area and is a music content writer and producer and critic for Microsoft, or was for several years.
So the Sam Sutherland in Seattle is sort of a hybrid of you, the copywriter, and then our Sam, the music critic.
That's correct.
Wow, that's incredible. So, I mean, do you happen to remember any of the purchases that Sam Sutherland made that you got emails for?
I think it's best if I don't go into those here.
I would love to. If it was something embarrassing, I mean, I would love to know.
I honestly don't remember.
So you're retired, but you're a copywriter and an editor. Is that right? I mean, somebody pointed out that AP Style or something follows you on Twitter, which is that's no small potatoes.
I don't know if they just randomly follow everyone who follows them, or if they picked up on a tweet that I sent out, and there aren't many, and liked it enough to follow me. But I was surprised to discover that as well.
But I mean, tell me a little bit about. I mean, and I noticed your bio says former proofreader, which is, I think, a little bit of a play on words there. So tell me a bit about. Do you think that
was the plan? Yeah.
Yeah. In the age of the internet, I mean, does grammar still matter, or is grammar kind of mattering less and less lately?
To folks like me who grew up with the AP Style Manual and Chicago Style Manual and others, it does still matter. I still cringe a little bit when I see what's happened to grammar and punctuation and spelling on the internet. But I've also realized, and I've known for a long time, that language changes. We don't write and speak the way Shakespeare did, or Chaucer, or any of those folks. But what we consider educated English now is very different from what they would have. So it's evolving. I don't know if what's happening on Twitter is the way it's going to evolve in the future, or if this is just a branch that will die out eventually. Who knows?
Right.
It's fun to watch.
Yeah, it's interesting, right? I think it's good to have sort of a hybrid of knowing how things should be done, but being willing to break the rules, maybe.
Exactly. The first time as a professional I discovered I could get away with writing less than complete sentences and have it actually work was a real breakthrough. I'm a recovering academic, and in academic writing, you would never have done that.
Right.
When you got into commercial writing and found out that sentence fragments actually were better in some cases, boy, talk about being liberating.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, so I don't know if you've come to terms with this, but our podcast is about the band Blink-182. Have you ever heard of that band or ever heard of them?
I had heard of them before. I've learned a lot more about them in the last couple of weeks since I've started learning more about you guys.
Right. So I mean, what happened was basically, I think somebody was pulling your leg a little bit. Our friend Marsden, he likes to tweet at all of the different Sam Sutherlands and pretend.
I've seen a couple of those.
Yeah, he's a little prankster. So I think that's how it got started. But then you did a tweet where you sort of very politely corrected us, which sort of just doubled. It made the joke that much funnier for some reason.
I'm glad I could help out.
But
yeah, it's been. I have nothing else to do these days. What am I supposed to do with myself?
So now you're just directly involved with our podcast. And so tell me what you've sort of, from a distance, from Texas, a retired copy editor, what's your take on what's going on with Blink-155 on Twitter?
On Twitter, I'm not quite sure I know what to make of it. I've listened to parts of a couple or three of the podcasts, and I find them really interesting. Even knowing nothing about the band, listening to you and Sam talk has been educational. I'm learning stuff about the band. I'm learning stuff about culture. And sometimes it's just intellectually stimulating. I listened to part of the podcast where you talked about the 7 dirty words. That was an interesting take because your take from your perspective is different from mine. I heard that first when it was George Carlin was doing that for the first time, or when it was new, and it was a completely different way of looking at things. The way you see it now is valid based on your take hearing it now.
Amazing. Well, I'm so glad that you've listened.
Well, I tried to do research before going in too deep into something like this.
Fair enough. So now, I don't want to make assumptions about you, but I assume you don't seem like a very pop punk sort of guy. I don't know if you've listened to this band before. What kind of music are you into?
Boy, I anticipated that question, and that's a hard one to answer because it's a little bit of everything. Everything from jazz, Coltrane or Miles Davis to Frank Zappa is one of my favorites, to the stuff I grew up with in the 60s, the Stones or folks like that. Willie Nelson, you name it. I'm all over the map. So although I have not listened to punk much, I do enjoy it when I hear it.
Yeah, I think that sort of everything you like is sort of circling the drain towards that. So maybe there'll be some stuff you'd get into.
That's a good way to put it.
Something that we didn't realize until after we did the episode, but Blink-182 has a song called "Every Time I Look for You," and we didn't realize until afterwards. But actually, the official release of it, they've contracted "every time" into one word, which is just a very frustrating grammatical mistake.
And
But in the age of the internet, you can't. Things are uploaded by users who actually corrected the typo, but on the actual CD, it says "every time" is one word, and I don't think that is ever acceptable, is it?
Not to me, but like I say, the world keeps changing around me. So I'm still fighting the battle against "all right" as one word, but that's a losing battle.
Fair enough. So, I mean, what else do you do with the day in your life now that you're retired?
I read a lot. I follow random people on Twitter. I visit museums, travel some, still see folks that I used to work with. I'm still interested in the field of writing and marketing and that sort of stuff. It's mostly I find that I have time to think.
Wow.
Which was not the case for 40-something years.
Yeah. So that sounds almost like it could be scary, too much time to think. It's not so bad, though, hey?
Not so bad.
Excellent. Well, now it seems like I think you're going to become a big part of at least our Twitter following, but hopefully you'll keep listening to the podcast and you'll meet some new people. There's all kinds of people listening to this podcast, so the more Sam Sutherlands, the merrier is our new motto, I think.
Oh, any others that I meet, I will certainly recruit them to be followers as well.
And so if you had some advice actually, no, this is what I wanted to ask you, because our Sam Sutherland, there was this Twitter account that still exists called Blink-155, and we had to use Blink-155 pod, but our Sam Sutherland sort of was just like, oh, I'll just be able to get it from him, and it never worked out. But I'm curious, has he ever contacted you trying to get your username?
No, and that's probably a wise move.
Because you're really sitting on some gold here for the Sam Sutherlands of the world.
Well, but other folks have already claimed the domain name, for example, on the web, and so I'm hanging on to this one.
So from one Sam Sutherland to the other, what could you offer? Any advice or anything for our Sam Sutherland?
He's lived with the name long enough to know what trials and tribulations it brings. I don't think I can offer him anything he doesn't already know.
Well, thank you very much, Sam, for appearing on the podcast.
And thanks for calling. I'm glad to have met you guys, and I'll be following along.
Excellent. So, and everyone else can follow Sam Sutherland. That's the real name, the full name. It's not none of this no vowel garbage that our Sam has. It's full on Sam Sutherland at Twitter. You can follow him for hopefully some grammatical insights as the world changes around us.
Okay.